Well, this week, because the Open is in Scotland, Elk and I have been reminiscing over our fantastic Scottish stories. If you watch the tour report, I put him to the test when it came to some of our unique Scottish words and phrases. And Elk, it reminded you of a time in Scotland in 1995 when you were spending time with your Scottish caddie, Dave Renwick, and we relived a great memory that we're going to show here right now.
Yeah, it almost gives me little goosebumps when I talk about it because Dave Renwick's no longer with us. And after this video, you're going to see 3 weeks later, we won the PGA together. And he was telling me all this time that if I was going to drive the ball like I was driving it, not only might I win at the old course, which I finished sixth that week, but I won 3 weeks later in the PGA. And he was in my ear the whole time. And that was one of the great things about Dave Renwick. He knew how to motivate a player. But during the week of the 1995 Open Championship at St Andrews, I went up to Dave's hometown in Pumpherston, Scotland, where I played in a match against the club champion for a 9-hole match. They talk about all these guys' teams now. They have all these people. Well, I had a friend of mine from Scotland, from Ayrshire, who was a hairdresser, and he played the bagpipes. So he was on my team. So you'll see as we intro this video, you'll see Derek giving the bagpipes a little bit of a burst as we warmed up that day. And I just saw the video for the first time in years, and my swing just now was, I'm not surprised, Diane, it was very much in line. And I think the people that look at swings will be quite impressed when they see how young Elkington was hitting the ball at that point.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I was watching your swing and thinking that it looks exactly the same now as it did back then. So that was my first thought. But what's really cool is, well, you finished 2 shots out of the playoff at the Open Championship. It was eventually won by John Daly. He was in that playoff with Constantina Rocca. And you talk about winning the PGA. It was only a couple of weeks afterwards. Dave Renwick, your caddy, had been telling you, he knew something good was coming. But what happened to the people in Pumpherston? Because obviously after they spent time with you and met you, they were fully rooting for you when it came to the PGA. And I'm sure they had a little bet going.
They certainly did. I thought I was going to win the tournament. I hit it on the road on 17 and made bogey, and 18 was playing short. So if I could have got a par on 17 and a birdie on 18, I would have been in the playoff. But all the people from Pumpherston were so great. And for years later, they all followed me when I went over there. And they all bet on me, Diane, that week, and they all won a little money. But more importantly, every single person in Pumpherston was betting on me to win the PGA because they saw me come to Pumpherston. I played in a match with their club champion. Then I played excellent golf at the old course. Then the next tournament I played in was the PGA. And they broke the bookmaker in Pumpherston, Diane. Every single person was on me at about 75 to 1 to win the PGA 3 weeks later.
That bookmaker must have hated you.
What he didn't know is he said, who is this guy, Steve Elkington, and why is every single person in the town betting on this guy at 75 to 1? What is it that you know that I don't?
Oh, that is so cool. Right, and then obviously on the tour report this week, there's a great section. I've actually cut it out of the tour report and posted it because I'm sure Scottish people are going to get a real kick out of you trying to say Scottish words and phrases, and they were all very appropriate for the Open. So if you're going to the golf this week, hopefully we educated you a little bit in the lingo. But somebody told you a joke when you were in Pumpherston that day. We're going to run it in just a second, but tell us the story behind the joke and the guy that was telling it.
Well, there's always a lot of fun going on in Scotland, Diana. As you know, when I went up to Pumpherston and played that 9-hole match, I got to meet all the characters in that club. It reminded me so much of growing up in Wagga. Frank Keelfeather, who is in this next clip you're about to see, his son Ged, who is still a good friend of mine, and we talk quite a bit, was the biggest character, bigger than life character. I think he was the captain of the club at this time. By the way, after the match, we all went to the clubhouse, and where they, in true Scottish fashion, Diane, everyone does their own form of karaoke where they get up and they sing. They dedicate a song to me. One guy drank a bottle of whiskey and they sing that. They do the special Scottish song where they drink the bottle as they tell the poem. You know the one, the William Wallace poem?
Yeah, exactly.
And my wife, who just had our daughter Annie, was just born. She was wondering why we didn't get home from Pumpherston until about 1 a.m. after playing just a brisk 9-hole match at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon that day. So she thought maybe we were lost in the wind in Scotland. But this is as we talked about yesterday, so many people have just talked to us about unusual Scottish words. Well, here's some coming at you.
All right, sir. They tell me you know all the Scottish jokes.
Of course we do.
Okay, give me your best one.
The best one?
Yeah.
It's about a parliament called Buddy Renwick, who's a caddie. And he was caddying for this Australian guy. And the Australian guy said to him, "Buddy, have you got such a thing as a button pen?" Buddy says, "Aye, there's one in the family. I haven't used it for years." So the big Australian guy walked up to look at the button pen and offered Buddy 10 grand for it. So Buddy says, "Yeah, I'll sell you for 10 grand. So the big Australian guy went up to the button pen, had a look. He said, "Where's your John? Where'd I go for a shit?" He said, "See that hut down there? That's it." So the big Australian guy went down the hut, came back up. Buddy says, "Can't give you 10 grand for it." Buddy says, "Why?" He says, "There's no lock in your John." Well, Buddy says, "That particular button pen's been in our family for years. From my grandfathers, my great-grandfathers and his grandfather. And as far as I'm led to believe, nobody ever stole a bucket of shite yet." Will that do you?
Elk, the funniest thing is our Terry Teo that works with us in our team here at Secret Golf. He was the one that was videoing it. And I laughed so hard because there is no way that Teo could understand all the words that were coming out of Frank's mouth as he was telling that joke.
No, Terry Okura, our producer, said, "I'm coming to Pumpherston. This sounds like fun." So as you can see, we were working on my swing a little bit and it was looking good, Diane, and everything for the next month or so went just perfect for me.
Yeah, exactly. What a fantastic time. So a trip to Scotland in 1995 that you will never forget.